I was really excited to be a part of that one.
Wow. And another movie, Paranormal. What's that one?
Paranormal movie. That I had a very small role in that. That was Kevin Farley did that film, Chris Farley's brother. And through a mutual acquaintance of ours, I came in kind of last minute to fill in for someone, and just went on there for a day and just had a blast. I had a really good time working with those guys. And that's just a spoof on Paranormal Activity, those kind of movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I'm trying to remember if I watched any of the Paranormal Activity movies, because there's 2 of them, I believe, out.
I think they've done maybe 3 now. I've only seen the first one, and I found it really creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's hard to watch those kinds of movies because I'm the type that dreams about that.
Oh, yeah, same here. I when I was in the theater, I was like, oh, that was pretty cool, and then I was laying in bed later that night and started hearing stuff and getting freaked out.
Right.
You know what? That movie was really good. It's getting me 3 hours later, so they did something right.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I watched The Exorcist when it first came out, and it's kind of dating myself, but
no, not at all.
That's something that has stuck in my head for life, and I can't even hear like any of the music from it, or if they have a commercial or see any of the pictures, because to this day I have to sleep with my TV on.
Oh my God! So. Yeah, and I don't blame you at all. That, to me, today is still the best horror film ever made, and nothing even really approaches it. I get disappointed with a lot of horror films, but that one, from start to finish, oh my God, it's scary.
Definitely, and to say that even nowadays, with when it was made so many years ago, they were. Gosh, oh my God, I don't even know. But a funny story is, I got to talk to Linda Blair when I was working at this one place. I was taking an order from her for flowers, and the only thing that kept going through my mind over and over was her face in The Exorcist. It was hard to talk to her.
You're like, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to leave. I can't do this. I would not be able to. I wouldn't be able to do it either. That's all I'd be able to think about.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing it was a quick order, and I got off the phone. I almost did pass it on to somebody else, but I just thought, no, this is my job. I got to do this. Let me just do it and get it over with, and that was it.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Now, as you mentioned, you.
Go ahead.
What? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna play Tubular Bells the next time I see you.
Oh, don't.
There's the theme music for that. Just watch you freak out. I wouldn't do it. I would never do it, Pam.
Sabina, you remind me, if Luke ever wants to meet up, not to go.
Don't you dare. He will play that music. I know him.
I must admit I've never watched the movie, and I don't think I ever will at this point.
Are you scared easily? Do you like scary movies?
Yeah. I prefer The Sixth Sense, like the mysterious and that kind of thing, not the really, really scary. I don't know. It's kind of weird. And I definitely don't do the gore. Ooh, no.
I agree with you 100% on that. I think the gore is kind of a cheap trick, and Sixth Sense was masterful. That's one of the best horror films I've seen as well. Really, really good.
Sabina, were you watching Days of Our Lives when Marlena was possessed?
Yes, and I barely watched during that.
Okay, well, let me tell you,
I was watching.
That's nothing compared to The Exorcist. That's nothing, but it reminded me of it when she floated up from the bed,
Oh, I've seen plenty of scenes from it, in passing or, just video clips or whatever. But, yeah, I've not watched the movie, and I think I'm going to steer clear of that one.
Sabina, please don't watch it. I think it would be bad for you.
You'll be like me and Luke then.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on to a better subject or less frightening one, I hope. You and Gary just got back from a road trip making the film for Monumental. Can you tell us anything about your road trip?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that was, it was one of those really weird things where, of course, in the script, we write it where there are a lot of problems happen to these guys, whether it be, with their trip or mentally having to deal with their families back home. And Man, I tell you what, it's kind of like the script came alive. Like all the stuff we had written kind of started happening to us as we were shooting, just breaking down when we were supposed to break down. And that was the biggest thing was we had so much trouble with this 1980 RV that we bought to drive across the country. I have no idea how we got it finished. Like it was breaking constantly. So that was, we didn't know at points, Gary and I would sit up late at night and be like, what do we do? Like if it crapped out in the middle of the country, how are we going to finish this film? You know what I mean? Like we've got all these people out here on the road. How do we get it done? How do we get everyone home? But I think we're still under a lucky star. Everything happened the way it needed to, and we got it done.
Neither one of you are mechanical at all? I mean, you wouldn't be able to fix it. What did you do? Did you have to call somebody?
Pam, if I can fix it with duct tape, I can fix it. Other than that, that's kind of the extent of my knowledge. And that's not a lie. Like, I had to duct tape one of the fuel lines repeatedly with Batman duct tape to keep it from leaking, and then when that wasn't working, we went to the Superman duct tape, and that seemed to do the job. So, I learned more about cars in the 2.5 weeks we were on the road than I learned in 30 plus years living. So it was
gosh.
The only reason we were able to finish it was just we met some really kind people along the way that helped us get it fixed and told us what was wrong. That's the only way we got done. So a big shout out to people in the little town of Mondame in Iowa. They were fantastic and they really kind of saved the show.
Yeah, there's still some nice people in the world.
Absolutely.
Now, I have to ask you, did you get your mohawk for that movie, or is that just something you did because you liked it?
It's kind of a little bit of both. I'd shaved it for the first time about 5 years ago, just kind of see what it would look like, and then switched stuff up and really, really liked it. And as time approached for this character, this guy that I play, he kind of plays a guy who won't grow up. You know what I mean? He's an adult man, but he really kind of struggles with the responsibilities of being an adult man. And it just kind of fit. Gary and I talked a lot about it, and we both really liked the look. And he's like, I think it's perfect for this guy. So let's roll with it. And the director loved it. So, yeah, we decided I was wearing it anyway. Let's just keep it. Because we had talked about just having my head shaved instead, but we all liked the hawk.
Well, at one point, I know I saw in some of, was it your picture? I think it was your pictures I was looking at on Facebook. And Gary did the same thing?
No, that was our director, Scott.
Okay. I couldn't tell because he was from behind.
Yeah, he had a little mohawk envy, and he decided that he was going to do a hawk as well. So we were trying to get the rest of the crew to follow suit, but nobody else was really willing to risk it. But, yeah, it was really cool when he shaved his, kind of in solidarity.
Nice. That was cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. He's a good dude.
Now, you went to a bunch of landmarks. Are there, like, a couple of them that you can discuss?
Absolutely. I can tell you all the ones we went to. That's the basis of the film. The film's called Monumental, and the basic storyline that I can tell you about is that Gary plays a character named Steve. I play a character named Clayne, and I was raised by Steve's mom. She basically raised both of us while the dad was away as a long trawl hooker. So her whole life was us, and she kind of sacrificed all her goals and dreams to raise us. And one of her dreams was to visit all these monuments that her husband would tell her about in the U.S., and she never got to. So after she passes, he and I take her ashes and spread her ashes at each of the monuments that she wanted to go to but never got to see. Yeah, that's the basic storyline. And we got to do Hoover Dam. We did Mount Rushmore. We did the Gateway to the Arch in St. Louis, Statue of Liberty. The only one we couldn't do that we wanted to was the Liberty Bell. We couldn't get that one done. And then we did the Lincoln Monument in Washington, D.C., which was, I've been obsessed with that monument since I was a little kid. It was amazing.
Wow. So there's going to be a lot of history in this movie.
Yeah, and that's kind of the flashback that we see, his mom kind of discussing that and going through the history of the monuments and how it takes, a group of people to come together for a good of man to make a monument. And kind of the same thing when you make a film. It's especially an indie film like this. We all have to sacrifice and come together and be willing to work for way less than we should to make something like this happen. So it was really nice.
Yeah, and I've spoken with a few actors that actually prefer to do indie films versus, somebody huge. And I guess it's just the way that, you get to do things, you know, you have more of a say-so on your parts and the things you do.
Yeah.
That's my take from it.
Yeah, it is a thing where when you're operating on an indie level, depending on how involved you are, where Gary and I, you know, writers, lead actors, and helps produce as well, it's kind of, you get a lot of decision-making power of, okay, we got to stay true to the story, we got to stay true to the characters. No one's telling us what to do. We don't have to answer to anyone but us, and we can make exactly what we want to make. The downside of that is, hey, good luck going and raising the money for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the necessary evil for that. And also, good luck. You're supposed to be acting right now? Well, we have the RV breakdown. We need to get these people home. Also, we're running out of money. How are you going to pay this person? Yada, yada, yada. You're the producer, not just the actor. So it's a whole different ballgame, but it was, you know what, it's challenging, and I like that. It's kind of like step up to the plate or don't. So.
Right, exactly. Now, are you having the film edited at this point?
Yes, we are currently pushing through editing. Our goal is to have a really nice draft done for to submit to Sundance. That's our goal.
Oh, good. I hope that gets done rather quickly. I'd love to see it because it sounds like a film that I'd really enjoy watching.
I hope so. I think hopefully a lot of people respond to it because, you know, the subject matter and then the characters, hopefully, that we created, you know, people, if you can identify yourself in any of the characters, you know people like them, and that's kind of what we set out to do. I think a lot of people will like it. I'm very hopeful.
And I think it's something that pretty much anybody of any age would be able to watch, too.
Yes. We, to a certain degree, kids, maybe not great subject matter. I mean, the family stuff is great. But, you know, we deal with some more adult, like darker subjects as far as like keeping a family together and, you know, what guys do on the road and stuff like that. But I think, for the most part, you know, if you're 16 or over, you should find something that you can identify with in the film.
Which all my kids are, so that's a good thing.
Perfect. All right. 4-1 for us.
Yeah. Now, what did you learn from this adventure with Gary? Was he a good roomie?
Yeah. No, trust me, you get to know someone really well when you're sleeping in a van or an RV with them for 2.5 weeks. Gary is such a talented artist, and I knew that going into this. I knew him. We met as actors on a film called Lost in the Crowd, where we got to play some nice roles opposite each other, and just have always loved working with him. He's like a consummate professional, takes this job very seriously, and is incredibly good at what he does. And then he started writing, and had sent me the script to look over a couple times, and I knew right away this guy's a natural storyteller, and that I wanted to work with him. So already knew that stuff going in. What I found out about him on the journey that I didn't like is he's a huge Lakers fan. I knew this going in. I am not. And he would throw his Lakers blanket over me while I was asleep, and it gave me nightmares. It gave me night terrors sleeping under that blanket. So that Gary Cairns I will get you for. Trust me. But no, I mean, we had a really cool crew. Everyone pitched in and did way more than, you know, they needed to just because that's what had to be done. So, I mean, it was a really, really good team.
You're either going to love each other even more or you're going to start not liking each other even more.
Absolutely. You know, and not everyone gets along, not everyone's best friends, but at the end of the day, you're all there for the same reason, and you get it done. And, I mean, Gary and I are already talking about working together again, so, you know, that speaks volumes. If you can go through that with someone and still have that much respect for each other, you're good to go.
That's fantastic. I love those stories. I was wondering, there's a couple things I'm curious about. I know you said you liked comedy, and you said that you liked Office Space. Now, would that be your favorite comedy movie?
Ooh, that's a tough one right there. One of my favorites, that's going to be in the top 5. Another favorite would probably be Dumb and Dumber. Obviously one of my favorites. So ridiculous. Those are 2 that come to mind. Three Amigos, I've always been a huge fan of those guys, going back a little further. And then one that I started out hating, but then grew into an obsession with is Zoolander.